Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum class. I welcome you to English grade 7 video lessons. I'm your instructor Zia Hamid. I hope that you're doing well. So as you know that we are dealing with our unit number 2, etiquettes of travel and transport. This is our lecture number 2 with the competency of grammar. So now let's read our students learning outcome and try to understand that what we are supposed to do in this lesson. Now, our students learning outcome or SLO is identify and differentiate between sentences, clauses and phrases. So, it's very easy to understand that we are going to see these three things: sentences, phrases and clauses, and try to understand that what is the difference between these three. Now, here is a vertical linkage of our SLO with the previous grade that you have already studied. I hope that you remember most of it. Now moving on with our today's brainstorming session, where we have a question for you. What does a subject indicate in a sentence? So you are familiar with a sentence. So we know that a sentence has a subject. But why is the subject used and what does it indicate? Can you pause the video and think about it, that what a subject is in a sentence? Now, moving forward, we have our topic: phrases, clauses and sentence. Let's try to understand phrases first. This is from your page 10. A phrase is a group of two or more words that expresses a single idea but does not form a complete sentence. For example, traveling and transportation have become important aspects of our modern lives. This is a complete sentence and it is making sense. For the example of a phrase, you can look up of our modern lives. Now this chunk of the sentence of our modern lives is called a phrase because it does not make a complete sense. Moving on with our examples. Here are examples of phrases like leaving behind the dog, smashing into a fence, before the first test. Now these are some group of words, but they do not make a complete sense. Hence, they are called phrases. Now, let's talk about the term clause and let's see what are clauses and how they are used. So, clauses are a group of words that contains a subject and a verb. We have two types of clauses: independent and dependent. So they are two types, independent and dependent clause. In the sentence, whether it is for education, business or tourism, traveling has become unavoidable. Now we can identify the dependent and independent clauses as follows. Now, the chunk that we have read from the lesson has both dependent and independent clause. Let's see. So, a dependent clause, although it has a subject and a verb, cannot stand by itself as a sentence. It is only part of a sentence. For example, after the children left for school, or because I love grammar, all these are dependent clauses. We need some more information, another independent clause or a chunk to understand that what the clauses mean. So after the children left for school, it does not give us a complete idea. Also, because I love grammar, still it does not give us complete idea. So these two clauses, for taken from different sentences, they need an independent clause to make sense. For example, since she laughs at different men. Now, we need another part. So hence this is also a clause. Because she smiled at him when the saints go marching in. So these are all dependent clauses. They are dependent on other clauses which we call independent clauses to make sense. When we see these together, only then we can decode the message and we will be able to know that what is being talked about. Now let's look at our independent clauses. So an independent clause can stand alone as a sentence. For example, the secret of life is honesty. Now, this kind of clause is called independent clause because it is independent and it does not need any information. It stands as a complete sentence. Let's see some examples. Traveling has become unavoidable. It is a independent clause because we are fully understanding it. Now, dependent clause is whether it is for education. Now, this needs some more information. Hence, it is a dependent clause since it is depending on some other part or other chunk of the sentence to make a complete sense. Let's talk about sentence after seeing phrases and clauses. Now, a sentence you're familiar with, it is a group of words that expresses a complete thought with a subject and a predicate. So, when we talk about sentence, we need a subject and a predicate to call it a sentence. Let's talk about the subject. For example, traveling and transportation. We are talking about traveling and transportation. So it is our subject. Predicate is the further part of the sentence to which the information that we are talking about the subject. So traveling and transportation have become important aspects of our modern lives. This is a predicate. Take another example. Subject is effective communication. So this is our subject. We are talking about effective communication. And what are we talking about is our predicate, or the information we are giving about the subject is our predicate. The predicate is essential for maintaining a harmonious environment. So this is how we divide our sentence into a subject and a predicate, and now you can easily identify them and use them correctly. Let's see some examples. Sana loves books. He looked happy. The moon is beautiful. All these have a subject and a predicate. The subject is here, it's Sana, here he, and here the moon. And the other part, these parts are called the predicate of the sentence. Now, it's time to watch a simulation video. You can watch it later or pause the video and you can watch it now. It depends on your choice. You will learn more about the phrases, clauses, and sentences. Now, for your classroom activity, we have a chunk of page number 10. This activity, it goes like, read the following sentences and underline the phrases. So these are the sentences and you have to read them and underline the phrases that you find in the sentence. Here we have another one. Read the following sentences, write ID for the independent clause and DC for the dependent clause. Now, another activity for you from page number 11 is think creatively and use your imagination to come up with unique and interesting sentences. Work together to create as many unique sentences as possible using the subjects and verbs of your own choices. Highlight the subject and predicate in sentences. So all these activities are your classroom activities that I hope that you will enjoy them and you will put your understanding into practice by solving these activities. This is your worksheet that can be found in the description of the video. You will get your worksheet to practice further. Now, for your homework, we have from page 10, extract 10 phrases from the text of the lesson and write them in your notebook. So this will be your homework. Now, my dear learners, we are here at the end with our resources for your better help and understanding. Worksheet, a presentation, a lesson plan, a question bank, and also a skill sheet. All these are available in the description of the video. I hope that you had great time learning about phrase, clause, and a sentence. We clarified them with different examples, and also we saw examples from the text of the lesson. Until the next video lesson, this is your instructor Zahmid. Allah Hafiz.